Hi everyone, it's Shaluna Crafts. Thank you for joining me today. I've got a discussion about alcohol markers today and maybe a book or two to use them in that you haven't heard of. Let's get into it. Alright, so like I said, I am Shaluna Crafts and my name is Rochelle. For anyone wondering, I came up with Shaluna. It is my name, Rochelle, combined with my dog's name, Luna. So it's Shaluna, and that's where that comes from. Okay, so today we're talking about alcohol markers. Here I've got some Ohuhu pastel alcohol markers. And I know that a lot of people, including me, the way we got into adult coloring is the recent trend, the last, probably year or so, of cute and cozy coloring with alcohol markers. I know for myself, the first thing I saw was probably either Instagram or TikTok, and I saw a video done by Coco Wyo, and it was alcohol markers, and it was in this book, little corner. And I just fell in love, and I knew that was a hobby that I wanted to try. Ended up getting some of these alcohol markers, and I guess the rest is history. So one thing that has happened, I think, with me and others is we kind of start coloring, go on YouTube, go on the socials and see, people are coloring in all these beautiful books. They're coloring in Johanna Basford and Rita Berman and Maria Trolle and Hannah Carlson and all these beautiful books, but they're not single-sided illustrations. So if you use them, if you use alcohol markers in them, it will bleed through. We all know this. This is what it looks like on the back, and pretty much any paper is going to do that, right, with alcohol markers. But sometimes, or at some point, you might start to feel like, I kind of want to graduate to something a little bit more advanced, maybe some more intricate illustrations. What can I use my alcohol markers in? Because all of these other books seem to be double-sided. I mean, one thing you could do is maybe buy 2 copies of the book and sacrifice one side of the page, or maybe if there's some illustrations you don't care for, you can just sacrifice it. But I feel like that's kind of a shame. I mean, obviously you can do whatever you want, but that's kind of a shame to lose a page, or, a lot of us don't have the budget to just be buying multiple books, right? So a lot of us are going into colored pencils and doing all that, which is great. But if you've invested money in these alcohol markers, you want to use them for, coloring. You want to use them for good coloring that you enjoy. So I have a book, actually 2, that I have found to be fantastic for alcohol markers. And maybe you've heard of them, maybe not. Maybe you're new to the coloring community and you haven't seen these before. So here are Enchanted Earth and Nature Mandalas. Hopefully that's in the frame. These are by Melpomeni, Chatzipanagiotou, and she has a book that she did before this, which was called Circle of Life, which I believe are not single-sided. They're double-sided, so alcohol markers really will not work in that book. I mean, they will bleed through. And then after this book, more recently, she has another one called Dream Voyage, and I don't have that one yet, but that one also is single-sided, so alcohol markers would work good. So let me show you a few of the pages through here. Enchanted Earth. It's a very beautiful illustration style, very imaginative. She does a lot of shading, and I guess by that I just mean lines. So when you just, like, say you're coloring this tree and you color these areas of the tree here, it already looks like it has a bunch of shadowing and shading on it. You don't have to do a whole lot, and it still is going to look amazing, and all you did was use markers. So let me just flip through while I kind of talk about the pages. The paper is really nice. It's a nice thick paper. It's pretty smooth, I would say. But what I have found using alcohol markers in this in these pages is that it just works so well. Sometimes you use a medium on a page and it just doesn't feel like it's coming together. It doesn't feel like they're cooperating very well. But when you use alcohol markers on this page, it just seems like they were made for each other, this book and markers. So this is the only page I've done in this book so far. And I did a little bit of shading here and there with colored pencils, but it's mostly just the Ohuhu alcohol markers. And you can see how there's no bleeding. I mean, going from section to section, it doesn't bleed over. When you use alcohol markers on thinner paper, like the Amazon printed pages that we're used to, like the Cocoa Wyo, you have to stay far away from the lines as you're coloring with the marker because it just bleeds. It's just, you know, the ink just blooms out, and so you have to kind of stay away from the lines. But with this book, you really don't have to do that. I mean, just use a light touch and go next to the lines, and it doesn't bleed very much. I really, really, really recommend using alcohol markers in these pages. So let me just flip through. There's the cover image. That one's really pretty. Probably my favorite in this book, actually. Lots of inspiration from nature in this book, which is probably one of my absolute most favorite themes. Like a nice desert page. Big wolf paw. I assume that's a wolf. There's giraffes there, so. Actually, maybe it's a lion. I don't know. Pumpkin. Big butterfly with a scene inside. That one's so pretty. Africa and flowers. Big fireplace type thing. Mermaid. Mushrooms. Nice tropical scene there. Maple leaf. Peacock. Really a nice variety in this book. Something for everybody. Artist palette. There's a big eye. Koi fish. Nice bird. Acorn. Ooh, pretty hummingbirds. Hourglass. More birds. Almost there. More desert scene. Whole landscape there. Another one. Okay, so that's Enchanted Earth. And then here's Nature Mandalas. And these are more, you know, intricate type of mandalas, as you'll see. And I just recently finished a page in this the other day, so that was what made me think of wanting to share this. So you can see how intricate the designs are, but if you use something like alcohol markers, it's not too hard. You just start putting color down in certain sections, and then it makes it easier to see the next section. And like I was saying, they don't bleed really. So it makes it so much easier to accomplish. Let me just flip through quickly. Nice safari page there. So the images are not like entirely symmetrical. You'll see that when we get to the page that I just completed. It's almost like they're flipped this way, kind of. But not entirely, because then this one would be facing, yeah, so it's like they're flipped both ways. I don't know. Whatever that's called. Dragonflies. Swans. All these beautiful animal pages. When I first saw her books, I was not, I didn't consider it quite as appealing because there's so much, it feels like there's so much gray. But when you put down the vibrant alcohol marker colors, it really makes it come to life, and the extra lines just add dimension. And it's just really fun to color. So let me get to almost there, the page that I just recently finished. There's Jess's favorite page, I think, Coloring Bumblebee. Okay, so here's the one that I just finished. This was entirely done with Ohuhu alcohol markers, and then I also used a little bit of Prismacolor colored pencil, kind of add some shading. I don't even know if it's really that noticeable because there's already the lines, as I was talking about, but I do think it, you know, it adds to the experience. And then I also used a lot of glitter Jelly Roll pen. Can you see that? So like those little dots around the orange flowers up there, those are Jelly Roll glitter. The Stardust. So, I mean, look how beautiful that page just came to life just with alcohol markers. And it's so, you know, it looks like a complicated, intricate page, but it's made so simple. And so I just wanted to share that. Maybe you're somebody who is new to coloring and you've got some alcohol markers. See, it, you can see it comes through the back, and I did use a buffer page here when I was coloring, but I don't think anything went onto it because this paper is really nice and thick. So let me just flip through while I chat about it. Maybe you're a person who's new to coloring and you've got alcohol markers. You kind of want to get into something a little bit more advanced. These two books are really perfect, and you can also look at Dream Voyage. That's one I did back in March. This is colored pencil for the background, but everything else I believe is alcohol markers again. So yeah, these books are just so good for alcohol markers. I'm not sure what else to say about it. But I really recommend it. Ooh, some snakes. Ooh, that's a pretty desert page. Tarantula. I don't know about that one. I'm sure I'll do it someday. Horses. Okay, so we're to the end of the book. I think what I'll do now is pick a page and I'll demonstrate for you how easy alcohol markers are to use. So I'll be right back with that. Alright, so here we are with a page. It's got big eagle-like birds on it and some flowers and leaves. So I picked a green. This is GY3. And I figure doing some green leaves is probably the easiest thing for me to do because I use a lot of green for a lot of leaves. Alright, so let me see if I can demonstrate this for you, how easy. Look at that, didn't bleed. It's perfect. So easy. And I'm using a pretty light touch, so I'm sure that helps. But I definitely sometimes have issues with markers bleeding in my like cute and cozy books. Doesn't seem like, no matter how far away I get from the line, it feels like it always bleeds. But here, I'm going right up to the line with a light touch. And it's not bleeding. Okay, hopefully you saw all that. So that's how easy it is. There's a couple of books for you to try, maybe a new author to you. And I really recommend it with alcohol markers if that's something you're interested in and that you have lying around. So I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate every person who stays and watches my videos. If you give me a like, if you comment, or even subscribe if you're interested in watching more of my videos, I appreciate you so much. It really means a lot to me. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. This is Rochelle. Happy coloring. Bye.